Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. We are going to start our spotlight event for this afternoon. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch and you're energized to continue the rest of our conference for this afternoon. We have a lot of great speakers and presentations that you will be a part of this afternoon. So we're excited to continue our momentum with our spotlight panel. For those I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Barb Andrix, and I serve as the Director of Economic Development and Advancement for the Greater Wyoming Valley Chamber of Commerce and Connect. Connect is the entrepreneurial and economic development arm of the Chamber, dedicated to supporting business growth, workforce development, and fostering collaboration throughout our community. If this is your first Spotlight event, welcome. Spotlight is one of Connect's signature programs and serves as a quarterly speaker series that highlights local entrepreneurs, industry leaders, students, and nonprofit organizations. It provides an opportunity for them to share their experience, insights, and expertise with our community. Today's Spotlight is presented in coordination with the Wilkes-Barre Launchbox powered by Penn State, and we are proud to hold it during our Change Maker Conference. This afternoon, we are featuring entrepreneurs who have successfully launched, grown, and sustain their businesses. And we are excited to hear their stories about personal branding and entrepreneurship. We encourage you to take advantage of the Q&A session following the discussion and join us in what promises to be an engaging and informative conversation. To lead us through this discussion, I'm pleased to introduce our moderator, Kristen McCullum, Entrepreneurial Program Strategist, Hazelton and Wilkes-Barre Launchbox, and from our sponsor, Bill Anahase, Director, Northeast Region Launchbox. Right now, I'm going to hand it over to Bill to say a few words.
Appreciate it, thank you. Always the toughest slot to go in right after lunch, but we'll try to keep it entertaining for you. As Barb said, my name is Dr. Bill Anahase. I am the Northeast Regional Director for the Hazelton, Wilkes-Barre, and Scranton Launchbox Network. If anybody's not familiar with the launch box concept, we're a no-cost, community-focused startup support hub that really helps entrepreneurs turn their ideas into viable businesses by providing resources, services, and tailored programming to meet the needs of our diverse communities. Today we're going to dive into a topic that sits at the intersection of identity and opportunity, which is personal branding and entrepreneurship. In today's world, who you are and how you communicate that to others is often just as important as what you build. Our panelists today bring diverse experiences in shaping their personal brands while building and growing ventures, and they'll share with us some insights on how authenticity, visibility, and storytelling can open doors, create trust, and accelerate success. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my Launchbox colleague, Kristen McCullum, who will introduce our panelists and get us started. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure to welcome our two incredible panelists. Please join me in welcoming Dave Tamkis, owner and creator of Tamkis Art and Design, and Norm Jones, co-owner and director of business development for Cup of Code. We're looking forward to a dynamic and inspiring conversation with both of them. Norm and Dave.
There's no apostrophe in Cup of Code.
Noted.
I noted that somewhere. Sure, thank you. You can see how well we're organized for this.
He wanted stage right.
This was discussed.
Thank
That
you.
was the one thing we coordinated, was he wanted stage right.
Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? Hi. Hi, Aaron. How are you? I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much. Pinch yourself, kick the person next to you. We just ate lunch, so you're full and happy, and I see a lot of smiles. Stay awake there, buddy. I got you. We'll try to keep you on your toes, and we'll try to be brief so that you can ask some questions, because this is an opportunity for you to pick our brains. We've started businesses. Businesses have failed. We've helped businesses get going. We've seen them start, finish, come to an end, and most of the ones that we work with continue to flourish and thrive. So please, this is an opportunity to pick our brains. I'm clicking. We'll try this one. Very brief timeline. Jimmy Carter's president. Star Wars premieres. Yoda. Newspaper ads in yellow paper dominating all of the advertising, and that handsome devil is twinkling the ivories. I'm brought into the world.
So 1981, Ronald Reagan's president. MTV premieres, doesn't even show music videos anymore, and TV is changing marketing budgets all over. And there's me. I showed up.
Yeah, look at that. Overlooking, what lake is that?
That's actually the Shamokin Creek.
Yeah. 1999, Bill Clinton is our president. Y2K. Does everyone remember Y2K? Yeah, okay. I see the panic has subsided. Websites become needed, and banner ads are everywhere. And Norm Jones, look at that handsome devil. That was Indiana, PA. IUP? Yes, IUP. That's what we say. There I was, Stormin' Norman, your guy for the scoop in the sky, because I thought I was going to be a meteorologist, and boy was I wrong. Quick professional, kind of tour. I started out in the late 90s at WTOV in Ohio. I moved to WNEP, worked there for about 8.5 years as a reporter and an anchor and a producer. I then transitioned into the marketing world at Comcast and launched my own company, Norm Jones Media, and land where I am today after a merger of our two companies about 5 years ago.
2003, George W. Bush was president. MySpace launches, and marketing goes digital. Also, I graduated right up the road here from Marywood University. Brief bit about my professional history. I started my career in an offset print shop, did local printing as well as nationwide printing to banks and credit unions. Then I moved on to Wise Market Corporate, where I was the creative services manager. I spent 3 years in sales at Durdak Brothers, selling beer. And then I launched my own business, Tamkis Art and Design, full-time about 3 years ago.
All right. Kristen. Our friend Kristen from Penn State is going to jump in here now, and I'm going to give you the clicker.
Okay. Thank you.
Standing or sitting? What do you prefer?
I personally like standing.
Oh, great answer.
What-
What's more engaging to you?
Is it standing?
Standing.
Perfect.
So we
Perfect.
stand.
We got 3 standers. Squats?
Yeah.
And
I have
nothing,
a
nothing
really
cracked.
badly injured hip flexor
Nothing
right
cracked.
now, so I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, great. So we're going to start. What is the strangest client request ever received?
Go ahead, buddy.
So I also do painting on things, more fine art stuff. So I painted on basketballs, baseballs, footballs, all kinds of crazy things. But the strangest request was to paint on a headstone of a loved one at a cemetery. I did not do that, but I would have done it if I would have ensured that I found the right product that was going to last.
I have 2. One is really risque, and then the other one is I kind of expected. I thought I was being summoned to build a website for the company. Instead, they were trying to hire me, and it turned into a almost formal interview. And I said, "It's my company. I'm not going to leave my company." And the other one, I was asked to be an actor in an adult film. Which I thought I was flattered, it was really nice, and it just wasn't something that my wife and I had really kind of talked through, and so I politely declined, but I was very humbled.
I feel like there'd be follow-up questions on that
Yeah, we could talk later, offline.
later. There will be time at the end to ask more questions.
Please don't ask about that.
I tried.
We're going to have a long car ride home.
We are.
Which music genre best describes your business and why?
I just want to blurt out and yell yacht rock. Yes, boomers unite. I am a boomer to my children, or unk, as some of you may be known to your children. So I live in this like world of smooth jazz with a little bit of Chris Cornell sprinkled in there, because I am a grunge guy from the 90s, but yeah, that's my genre.
So if you'd see my illustration style that I like, I would say you'd probably think like more of the heavy metal end of it. But from a business perspective, I would say it's closer to Weird Al Yankovic. It's fun. It's not too serious, but it's technically done and professional.
Facts.
All right, good, thank you. What is the worst business or career advice you have ever received?
Mine is simple: chase money, make more money, go after money. That was the worst piece of advice I ever could have received. I wasn't fulfilling myself when I did that. I did venture out. I tried it. I was looking at a guy who had, he had a Porsche for every day of the week in a big house, and I thought that was, in my late 20s, early 30s, I thought that was a sign of success, and so it was absolute failure for all of the right reasons that it failed. Money does not provide happiness. It provides material items that you may think translate to happiness, but as a 49-year-old dude, I can tell you that for me, it is not.
I would say the advice that didn't resonate with me would be you have to have a master's degree to further your career. While I do believe you need to continue to learn, you don't necessarily need to do it formally to do that.
Great answer.
Great. What is the one thing small businesses get wrong about marketing or branding?
It has to be perfect. If it doesn't, just do it. How many of you, show of hands, have been paralyzed about a social media post because you wanted it to be perfect? Show me your hands. All right. Everybody with your hand up, look around. The people without their hand up, They're just not raising their hands. So do it. Do the work. This is not 1999 where the quality of your video editing and the transitions are important, where the content is being... People are going to pinch and zoom and look at things, and those are your friends and your family to make fun of you. But make sure that you just post. There's a time and a place, but in social media especially, just get it out there. Be present.
I actually have two answers to this. I'm going to say one is not being consistent with their posting or their marketing. Building a brand, you have to be consistent. And tying right into that, the second thing would be being authentic. Know what makes you stand out beyond your competitors and lean into being authentic and show people why they should hire you over the other person.
Okay, excellent. What is one question you'd wish people would ask you more?
Can I pay you more money? For me, I would say that I wish people would ask, why can't I use AI for everything that you do? Because you certainly can get an end product that looks cool, but there's a whole bunch of things that are missing as far as if you want to put it on apparel, or you want it on a billboard, or you want to do a truck wrap with it. I see more and more people who deal in the hands-in part of that, tattoo artists and apparel printers who are like, we're not taking AI stuff anymore because it's causing more of a headache.
I looked at the question like I hadn't seen it before. I've studied these and I have prepared responses, but I'm going to give you a different one. I wish people would ask what they should expect out of the conversation that we're having. Managing the expectations of your organization. This is a personal thing and it's a business thing. What expectations do you have of me? So people will come to Dave and I and say, my brand is struggling, or I'm launching a new brand. But they won't ever ask, what should I expect from the logo design or the website or the social media or the video content that you're going to produce for me? What are the reasonable expectations out of that? And I think that dialogue opens up a whole new conversation of what those expectations should be and whether that's aligned with what your goals are at that time and maybe what your budget is set up for that certain project. So managing expectations and what should I expect from this thing that I'm about to ask you for?
How did you land your first paying client?
I was in college. I think I maybe completed my first year for a graphic design degree. And a friend of my father had a construction business that he had for a while, and he said, hey, I want you to design my logo. So I did it for like $50. Worked way too long on it. Wakes me up in cold sweat at night thinking about what I gave him. But it was pretty cool to see it on his van.
I had a huge leg up. I was on people's TVs for about 10 years. And so when I made the transition into advertising and marketing sales, I walked into a business and they thought they were there to be interviewed by WNEP. So the thing that always resonates with me is the gentleman, he had a Xerox company in Loyalsock Township, and he said, my mom loves you. And she worships you, and she trusts everything that comes out of your mouth. And I love my mother. And so if you're good enough for my mom, then I'm going to trust you too. And what an amount of pressure that put on me, because I now have this guy's mother that I had to make happy with these purchasing decisions and advertising dollars. But I can remember that's what that was.
Which marketing or branding trend do you secretly hate and why?
I wouldn't say it's a secret at all. I hate the trend of AI flyers on social media. My whole thing is you need to, like I said before, be authentic, and you need to be authentic to your brand. And there's a whole bunch of people who have decent building blocks for a brand, and they just fall into the trap of AI graphics, and they all look the same. You scroll through your feed, and it's a carpet cleaner and a landscaping place and a local block party, and you can't tell them apart.
That's a great one. I, too, have a strong distaste for what was it from The Princess Bride, the six-fingered man? Yeah, it was. So we don't trust people with six fingers, whether they're in movies or they're in AI. That probably wasn't the right thing to say, but what I meant to say is don't trust AI, okay? Because there's just too much blind trust put into it. So that's one thing. And then I don't make a secret about this. I really don't like when people yell at me in an ad on television or in social. Stop screaming. Yeah, stop being so loud. You can be direct and effective without yelling.
What is the most overused buzzword used in your industry right now?
Make it pop. What does that mean? It means something different to everybody. And it's just a generic term that people who don't want to articulate how they really feel about it can tell you. I mean, I don't know if it's because they can't or won't. They feel like they're going to hurt your feelings. I tell people all the time, I've been doing this long enough, I don't have feelings anymore. So you're not going to hurt them.
I don't like guaranteed leads and lead gen. We work with a lot of contractors, dozens of them, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to spend this much money, and how many leads am I going to get? Or what can you guarantee? And really, are there any guarantees in life? No, there aren't. We also hear a lot about this is as effective as you are willing to work towards the goal. So how much are you willing to put in? There's a lot of personal equity that you have to contribute in order to receive a success. So I don't love guarantees. And lead gen is just one of those words that, kind of shakes my spine.
Have you ever fired a client? If so, why? Norm loves this question. I can see it on your face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Year one, would I have fired a client? Heck no. I had a mortgage to pay and I had children to feed. I was unwilling to do it, so I was willing to take whatever came down my path. Year now 16 of doing this. Yes, we just fired one 2 weeks ago. It was liberating in so many ways. There's definitely collateral damage because he didn't want to be fired. In fact, when we fired him, he said, "Nuh-uh, I'm firing you first." And so then I wrote back and said, and we had not so playful banter, but there are people that you're going to find that are toxic for your business. You're a nonprofit. They're not a good place for you. They're not a good place for your brand, and it's okay to fire them.
Yeah, I have two. There's one that pops out where it was not necessarily friend, but acquaintances. It was a board for a group. They wanted to rebrand. They kind of explained to me what they didn't like about their current brand, where they wanted to go. I gave them some questions to dig deeper. I gave them more options and concepts than I typically give with explanation of why I chose that. I got an email back with clip art, not even AI stuff, clip art of like, we like this. And I'm like, that doesn't fit what you've been telling me at all. There was some banter back and forth, and finally I said, this is not worth the headache or time I'm going to have to invest. You're not going to be happy. I don't want to be associated with the end product that you're trying to get. So we politely parted ways.
What is a controversial opinion about small business ownership, entrepreneurship that would get you roasted on LinkedIn?
It's not always fun. Doing what you do, you have a special talent, the service you're providing, and that part of it is at best half of what you do in a week, because like me, I'm a army of one. I have to do the book work, all the follow-up, all the lead gen, and things like that, and you don't like doing all that stuff. Sometimes it's a slog to get through that end of it. I love doing what I do, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff you have to do what you do.
My controversial opinion that would absolutely get me roasted is the customer is always, no, they're not. Anybody agree with that statement? Anybody say, no, they are. The customer's always right. Show me your hands. You're hiding. Yeah, the customer's not always right. And, it may be a little hypocritical to say that because in, year one, year two, we're trying to, again, pay the bills, feed the families, do all the things. However, you'll do those things, and you'll take it from the customer. But if you're principled about what you do and you're not there after the almighty buck, then and you will say, nope, there's a right way to do this, and this is the way.
What screams this client will be a nightmare?
Just do whatever you want. You know what you're doing. It's not like that at all. It's a conversation because every new client that comes in that wants new branding or logo, I ask them about 12 questions, and I don't even like just getting that emailed back to me. I like having a phone call or a Zoom or an in-person meeting because you get a lot of stuff between the lines with those answers to help understand what they're trying to do, to help them clarify in their head and organize their thoughts around it. So that's what I got.
Mine comes in the needs analysis portion or the question, the Q&A section of our first encounter or meeting. And so when they start with, I can already tell you're going to be better than the last agency that I talked with. And I'll say, well, yeah, so tell me more about that. And as an old, reporter and journalist, I'm great at asking questions, and I'm rooting around and digging. And so I encourage phone calls and Google Meets and multiple screened computers at your workstation so that while you're talking to the person in a video conference, you can also multitask and then do a search on their social channels and a Google search and a LinkedIn history to learn a little bit more about where they are, where they've been. You know, there's this concept that if you're consistent across all brands, you're buttoned up, you have things together, that you tell a consistent story. However, when you may be nightmarish, you're the hot digital mess, right? You're all over the place, things aren't in order, and you can tell that pretty quickly. And then in a period of a half an hour, needs analysis, you can determine whether or not this person's going to be fruitful to have a relationship with.
It's that old rule of thumb I think my parents told me when I was in high school. If somebody is talking to you about someone else, be careful what you say around them because they're probably talking about you to someone. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with a client. If they start bashing their old agency or their old designer, it's a red flag for sure.
What business owner mistake can you spot immediately?
Owners that don't know the difference between their business social pages and their personal ones and air grievances or get into controversial topics. As a business owner, you kind of have to realize everything's so divided, no matter what you're talking about anymore, even benign things, that you have to kind of run it through a filter yourself because you don't want to alienate half of your potential customers no matter what stance you take.
I would say we've all been at a place where we're so excited about something. I can remember being this way when I was, as a teen and in my 20s. Heck, I'm still get very excited about some things. But when we allow that our passion and our excitement to override the kind of business practices and the structures that need to be in place to be able to handle that. So you can tell when someone very quickly, you hear the passion. And if you assign maybe a quick rubric for you all to think about is, I do it in development and in fundraising where I'll say, what's your passion for the subject? And then what's your capacity to give? What is your passion for the subject? And then what is your organizational level at where you're at? And then assign a very basic formula to say, the passion level's a 5, the organizational level's a 0, so this person's a 5 in the process. And so I will assign, and then I'll put on my organizational hat and say, okay, structurally, let's talk about this. Do you have a CRM set up? How do you pay your bills? Are you a S Corp, an LLC? What have you thought about the processes in your business plan to be able to accomplish these things? And so seeing where they are structurally, organizationally will help me, understand about how complex I can get into the next line of conversation.
What business advice sounds smart but is actually useless?
You have to niche down. You have to find your niche and stick with it. That was advice given to me early on from someone, and I do a lot of different things that are all in the same vein, and I found success with that. So it's, in my opinion, it's not very sound advice. It sounds smart and it works in theory, but niching down is nothing more than a marketing technique, because there's plenty of folks who do several different things and work with several different niches. It's just how they talk to that customer in that area.
I get down into the weeds a little bit when I thought about this, and my red flags and hackles go up a little bit when I hear someone say, for example, I don't need a website. I only need social media. Oh, my customers are only on Instagram or TikTok. So when we look at ourselves and we ask ourselves to step into a role where we stereotype and we think that we know who our customers are, and we say they look this way, they dress this way, they are this color of skin, they are this gender, and we say, okay, so now we're going to build an idea about who that customer is, and we're only going to do things this way. Every business, every nonprofit operates with people of all different colors, sizes, preferences, and so don't get yourself locked in based on your personal beliefs about what you think your ideal customer is, even though you think you know who they are very well. The world will surprise you and life will surprise you on the daily because of the people that interact with your business.
What is the most expensive lesson you learned in small business ownership or entrepreneurship?
Early on, as I mentioned, you're doing more than just the thing that you love and started the business. So it's identifying the things that you aren't good at and figuring out a way, whether it's hiring someone to do things like taxes. I mean, that first year, that was a shock when I got that first tax bill. And the other thing would always spell check.
What did you misspell?
Chrysanthemum.
Which time?
Wrote it down.
There's been a few over the years.
Who wants to see Dave spell it?
I can't tell you. Well, no, I better not. Never mind.
Okay.
My most expensive lesson was thinking that I needed to keep all of that thing for myself. And I was being cautioned by an older business person at that time to share. And he was trying to teach me a lesson, and I was unwilling to. I was trying to keep I was working and I wanted all the money because I needed to take care of my family. So unless you've done this, it's really hard to accept. But the more that you give of yourself and your time, talent, and treasure, the more that it will come back to you. It is biblical, it is philosophical, it is truth that you have to experience yourself. And so it takes a lot of courage to say, I really have all of these financial kind of bills lined up, but I have to give some of this away because this person wants to help me. It's a challenge, but without a doubt, it's the most expensive lesson that I've ever learned.
All right, I'll tell you one. Spelling mistake. When I worked for Wise, every Patty's Day they ran a promotion with points that you got a discount or free corned beef. But all the window signs, all the signage in store said it was discounted corned beer, not beef. Now that's one that spell check wouldn't catch, but it still happened.
I bet a lot of consumers had a lot of questions about what corned beer was.
Yeah.
Dave, what is
Thanks for that, Colonel.
Ba-dum-bum. Dave, what is a font you like to fight in the parking lot?
If you asked me 5 years ago, I would hands down say Comic Sans. But I changed my answer on that because I learned a bit about Comic Sans and how it was developed to help people who are dyslexics, because it's one of the fonts that people who have dyslexia can read easiest. So now, hands down, I'm fighting Papyrus in the parking lot, like today if it's here.
Do yourselves a favor and type in SNL Ryan Gosling Papyrus on YouTube later.
Wait till you go home, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to send all my emails to you in Papyrus. Norm, do you have one?
A font that I don't like?
Oh, fight.
That you would fight?
Oh, a font that I would fight?
Well, you don't like it, but you would fight it.
Yeah. No, not really. Yeah. I'm a lover of all fonts.
Okay. What is the worst AI-generated content you have ever seen? Why did it stick with you?
Can I go?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, we just got a new client. We got a large automotive dealership because the current agency used AI, and they're a Ram Dodge Chrysler dealership, and their AI agency used Chevy Silverado because they just let it go. And so the owner, the dealer principal, was out with his friends, and they saw the logo for the dealership come up on the big screen, 30, 40 people around, and he was very proud that it was there. And then they showed a Chevy. And yeah, ouch. And then so I've been a friend of this guy for 25 years, and then I got a call that evening, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock? Let's meet." And that was 60 days ago.
I bet that was a fun rest of the meeting.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, here's all of my advertising. Go ahead and take that and manage that for me. So
I have two boys, and they both run track, and about a year ago, the track coach learned about AI, and he started making AI flyers for the different track events, which, as you're scrolling, look cool. But then if you stopped on them and looked, I had a couple kids doing different events, just mangled faces, missing arms, claw hands. They were rough.
yeah, I've mentioned it earlier. Another client, we got one from Pittsburgh. He was a plumber, and all of the plumbers had 6 or 7 hands, fingers, and we got a new client because of that one too. So there is this reliance upon AI without, there's no remember, have you heard trust but verify? There's no verification happening there, and I don't know if it's just laziness or if there's a whole platform of AI generated software that's hey, you're getting AI and it's only the low price of X per month, and we're going to trust that to tell our brand's story. Oof.
Great. What is more dangerous, an inexperienced client with Canva or ChatGPT?
I'm going to say Canva all day long. ChatGPT can be used as a tool to do some research. You got to verify it, like Norm said. But Canva, they make it easy, but you still have to have creative thought behind how you're arranging those pieces. There's some people who are good at it, but it shouldn't be used necessarily by everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say chat, but now that he's kind of swayed me a little bit. Canva has everybody used Canva, the graphic design program? I think it's swell, but I'm not a graphic designer. So when it's too late and he's sleeping and I can't bother him, or it's for a nonprofit that doesn't have a budget, I'll say, I'll take care of it. And then I will spend an extraordinary amount of time trying to manipulate this because I'm not well-versed in graphic design programs, which teaches me a valuable lesson that professionals are worth what they ask to be paid for.
Okay, I think we have about 5 minutes to ask.
Not everybody at once.
More squats?
What's your question?
What happens when there's miscommunication with your marketing team?
One more time?
What happens when there's miscommunication?
No communication?
Yeah.
It's lots of follow-up emails. Try to get them on a phone call to catch them because it's really easy to ghost somebody in an email. So, I have a few projects right now that people reached out, seemed to be interested. I sent them proposals, and I kind of go on a 1 or 2 week follow-up schedule with them. And then there was one recently, they seemed very interested in a mural. Didn't hear after 2 follow-ups, so I just called them and got them on the phone and, talked through it, and everything's back on track now. The other thing, too, is I found that if you send a couple follow-up emails, you don't hear back, some of the language I use is, not following up on this project, but something more along the lines of just checking to see if this is still a priority.
Could I just offer a thought about personal branding and aligning yourself with the company maybe that you work at? And if your personal brand is, oh, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, please, go ahead.
I didn't know if you could see me down there, but my question was, what is your definition of leadership?
Ah, yeah, I love that. What's the definition of leadership? To me, it's walking the walk, talking the talk. It's making sure that you're willing to do all of the things that you're maybe asking others to consider doing. But it's also putting yourself out there and being willing to fail in front of others and then own that failure. I'm now at a stage of my life where I seek failure because I know that it's a step closer to where I want to be. I was not always that way, and it was tough for me. So my definition of leadership is being able to fail, seeking failure, and then finding the right path forward so that I don't do that again. Doing it with honor and honesty and integrity.
Thank you.
My answer is similar to that too. I was in management in several of my past roles in different places, and I always wanted to lead by example. I would hear the people out that were under me, and also one thing that I found living the corporate life is not all managers tend to stick up for the people. I made it a point to stick up for the people who were working for me. They were the ones doing the hard work. Didn't always win, but at least they saw that I was fighting for them.
And just to quickly wrap on that personal branding thought that I was having, align yourselves with defining that personal brand, and then align what your corporate goals are or your work goals are, and making sure that there's some consistency between the two. It may be a little shocking if you're this buttoned up person that works 7 to 5, and then you go home and then your hair's on fire and you run around, and what does that what kind of service does that do to you professionally or personally, that you can't align yourself? And after learning through decades of going through personal and professional growth, I find that there's more peace and tranquility in my life and happiness and true success when I am aligned and my boat is at an even keel, as opposed to ramrodding 50, 60 hours a week and working so hard and then becoming someone so utterly different in my personal life. So try to find alignment and seek that in your personal and professional life. And then my last 20 seconds I would offer is, please become involved in the things that you are passionate about. Don't sign up for things just to sign up for things because you think that they're important to your community, but find things that, whether it's a nonprofit, a school, an agency that helps, do something that feeds you, that also gives back, and that will help your professional life as well. You'll become aligned with people that are passionate about the things that you are passionate about, and you'll also make a difference, and you'll give back. As a soccer coach and as a person who runs a nonprofit and sits on several boards, there's this adage of like 20 to 30% of all the people are doing most of the work. And it's true. It's really hard to find volunteers. So I would ask one of you, if you're not already serving somewhere in a nonprofit capacity or in a giving of your time, talent, and treasure, to consider maybe doing that. Oh, you have another question?
Yeah, I was trying to articulate it in my head, but the gist is, if you weren't in the business field you are now, was there another one you wanted to go into? Like, have you ever thought about that?
I went to school for graphic design. My first job was not in graphic design. I was like the backup graphic designer at the print shop. I found a niche in offset printing, and I was the production manager after a few years there. So I've always been in the creative field. I always found a way to take even what I wasn't doing necessarily creative to bring creativity to that role. So I'm not going to tell you doctor or anything like that. Like, it would always be something with a graphic design mind, no matter what I was doing.
Mine is a hard 180 shift from where I am. I would have stayed in ROTC in college and become a special forces soldier and traveled the world trying to right wrongs. All of my best friends are in that line of work or have retired from that line of work. And I am a patriot and a supporter of, people who do rough things to protect those who can't. So I think that is the path that I would have taken. But I wouldn't have met my wife, wouldn't have 3 beautiful children. So I'm very happy for the path that I took. But yeah, it's a vastly different world that I would be living in if I didn't do what I'm doing right now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great question. Thank
The
you.
one thing that I'll say too is people ask me, do you wish you would have started your business sooner? And the easy answer is to say yes. But I will also say that every place that I stopped along my career, I've learned something. I've learned how to manage people. I learned a lot about how I don't like to operate. And I use that in my business today to not do the stuff that I don't like and treat people the way I don't like to see them treated.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kristen. Thank you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Let's give a round of applause once again for Dave, Norm, and Kristen. So before we conclude today's Spotlight event, I'd like to take a moment to introduce another initiative of Greater Wyoming Valley Chamber of Commerce, Luzerne Learns to Work. In addition to supporting entrepreneurship and business growth, we are deeply committed to workforce development. Luzerne Learns to Work connects Luzerne County high school students with career exploration opportunities, workforce readiness, and local career paths. The program also helps employers engage with students through work-based learning experiences such as internships, job shadowing, mentoring, informational interviews, and company tours. If your organization is interested in playing a more active role in developing the future workforce, we would love to connect with you. Participation is free, and our team can help get you started. That concludes today's Spotlight discussion. Please join me in giving our outstanding speakers one final round of applause for sharing their experience, insights, and entrepreneurial journeys with us today.
All right, everyone. Our next set of sessions would be in your agenda. So you look, we're a little bit off schedule here, but our next sessions are Peace as your standard operating procedure. That'll be right here in the main auditorium. The Jumpstart Your Brand, 10 things you need to make an impact in the community and online. That'll be upstairs on our second room floor. If you need help getting there, just identify a chamber staff and they can help you out. And then cruising into DEI, that'll be in the lower level through that hallway on the left-hand side, and we'll have those same sessions again later. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break to allow you to stretch, get a drink, use the restrooms, and if you can just go into your sessions of choice then. Thank you so much.